Hey, Canucks fans. Canucks president of hockey operations, Jim Rutherford, met with the media today. And one thing's for sure, he's not afraid to speak his mind. I'm Canuck Clay, and this is my Canucks take on One Take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Monday, January the 16th. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. Join Parker and me for Canucks After Dark at 10 p.m. tonight, followed by my own show at 11:15, both right here on YouTube. We're going to have plenty to talk about, as you can imagine. Jim Rutherford met with the media for about an hour today, just under an hour. Started off with talking about Tanner Pearson, ended off with talking about Tucker Pullman, and a whole bunch of things in between. I count almost a dozen different topics that he touched on. I thought the reporters were really good, asking him strong yet respectful questions, and full credit to Jim Rutherford. You might not like the way they're going about building the team, so to speak, but one thing is for certain, and I've always thought this, he's always very open, sometimes too open, sometimes too honest. Maybe it's such a contrast to what we've had here in the past, but certainly there's a lot to get into with what Jim Rutherford had to say. I'm going to give a very cursory overview of the dozen topics or so. Each of these I could go into for a few minutes each and make my own vlog, a whole vlog on each of these topics. But I'm going to kind of give you a general taste for right now. So let's start. Acknowledges the passing of Canucks legend Gino Odjick, and then expresses condolences to Gino's family. So a proper way to start. Then he also had medical personnel flanking him, Jim Rutherford did, and he talked about Tanner Pearson's injury and basically said that he was concerned after Quinn Hughes remarked last week after a post-game, in one of his post-game interviews, that he didn't think that the Canucks handled Pearson's injury properly. So that raised a lot of concerns, a lot of eyebrows. Jim Rutherford then went on a full-blown investigation mode, came out with some doctors who talked about procedure, time frame, so on and so forth. All to say that Rutherford said he hasn't found one person who's expressed concern, or one person to whom Pearson had expressed concern. And therefore, he believes that the Canucks did everything properly, used the proper personnel, proper techniques, and couldn't say too much because of confidentiality other than he doesn't know when Pearson's coming back, and the fact that he still has to talk to the NHLPA about what happened. But overall, he seemed pretty confident in what the Canucks have done. I don't think it was a cover your butt thing, but it's simply a more transparent thing. By the way, I've called all these things through tweets from Thomas Strands, Jeff Patterson, Harmdale, Brendan Batchelor, and others. Went on to Thatcher Demko, another injured player. Said, we're not going to rush him back. We want him to be back 110%, which never makes sense to me. How do you give more than 100%? I get it's a saying. But this is Jim Rutherford basically saying we're not going to rush him back any earlier than we need to, just in case he helps us win more games than we are supposed to. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So no rush to get Demko back. He's obviously their franchise goalie. They want him back fully at 100%, or in his words, 110%. Then Jim Rutherford went into his performance over the past year since he got hired, and he said, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the job that I've done to this point. And basically, he cited the challenges in working with the salaries and the salary cap and trying to move out money and trying to create more space under the salary cap. And remember, he came in with all these bold promises that they would do that, and they haven't been able to do so. It's kind of an indictment on maybe the contracts he was saddled with. But they've signed some of their own as well, including the big JT Miller one. So he actually said that they're now in a space where they have to do major surgery as opposed to minor surgery. Kind of funny he used the term major surgery a few minutes after talking about Tanner Pearson. But I digress. He was talking about the fact that the core is important. They're important players. But there could be changes in the core because you have to do some major surgeries, have to take some major steps. And until some contracts don't come off the books, it's going to be hard to make those major steps. Now, in talking about JT Miller contract, he did say in a few years the salary cap will go up by 10 million or so, 5 to 10 million. And he says, therefore, it won't prohibit us from doing what we need to do. That's all well and true when it comes to the Canucks. But remember, that salary cap goes up for the other 31 teams as well. So then it becomes more about competitive advantage as opposed to, can we afford him? Yes, we can afford him because the salary cap's going up. So interesting to hear him make that kind of declaration. Then he got to Bo Horvat and Bruce Boudreau, probably the two biggest on ice or the two biggest daily conversations surrounding the team. With Bo, he said that they've taken their best shot with him, a contract based on what he had done up to the season, acknowledged that Bo was having a monster season and that he's looking for his money. I don't think that was too shady, just a very, very honest way of putting it. And then Rutherford even said that we are in a pickle right now. So, yeah, interesting imagery in a pickle, but I hear what he's saying, acknowledging that it's going to be very tough to sign Bo Horvat. With Bruce Boudreau, he used a term like this: all I can say is that Bruce is our coach right now. Not the strongest endorsement from your president of hockey ops. He is our coach right now. In fact, Rutherford even admitted they've been interviewing candidates for the past couple months, but then he said, but that doesn't mean we're going to make a change, and that doesn't mean we want to make a change. No, I think it means they're going to make a change, that they want to make a change, but we will see when that happens. Maybe they're waiting for the proper time. Rick Tocchet, heavily rumored to be the next Canucks coach. Feel bad for Boudreau, but Rutherford has pulled no punches in talking about his head coach in the media, as we know him. Talked about retool versus rebuild. Rutherford said he prefers the term retool over rebuild, wants to trade not for picks and prospects, but for players that can help them win now. That's easier said than done for sure. Talked about the draft. He kind of sarcastically said, I thought we were tanking. We're pretty close to the bottom, but did acknowledge that this is the one year that everyone does want the number one pick. And he did also say, though, he's never going to tell his coach or his players to intentionally lose a game because, or to not play hard, because that's just not within his DNA and usually within the DNA of any coach or players. But you can make decisions that will make your team less likely to win. So we'll have to track that over the next 4 months for sure. Talk about buyouts. Said the Canucks will look at doing some buyouts over the summer if they can't move money. So again, I've said this 3 times now, but that's easier said than done. A lot of this press conference was a lot of things he was saying, easier said than done for sure, such as when he came here and talked about moving money. And finally ended off with Tucker Poolman talking about the fact that he won't play this year and he hopes to get a better assessment of his long-term prognosis very soon. So he basically starts with Pearson, ends with Pullman, and then a bunch of topics in between. In fact, yeah, I routed off about 12 topics there. Gino, Pearson, Demko, his performance, salary cap, Horvat, Boudreau, Retool, draft, buyouts, Pullman. Okay, I got to 11. I'm sure there's something in there that I missed as well. Oh yeah, he did say that ownership actually has not been meddling at all, and ownership does not influence any of his decisions. So maybe that's a 12th thing that he said as well. So there's a lot there, Canucks fans. And I know I'm going to break it down with Parker more tonight. I'll talk about more on my show throughout this week. But you tell me, what stood out to you the most from what Jim Rutherford said? Was it just his general tone, or were there a few things? I know for me, the 3 things that stand out to me are the fact of Horvat, Boudreau, and retool versus rebuild. But I would love to know your thoughts. Put them in the comments below, and I'd love to see you on Canucks After Dark or my own show right after that tonight. Shout out to my sponsors, Vancity Experts Real Estate, Perform and Transform Personal Training and Weight Loss. Thank you, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Justin Credible, legendary Andrew Chang for your support, Hall of Fame and franchise members as well. And thanks to all of you for continuing to loyally support me on this channel. As always, subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to, leave a donation, become a member, upgrade your membership if you'd like to, and definitely leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of Jim Rutherford's comments, both in general or specifically. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. See you tonight at 10 p.m. for Canucks After Dark, 11:15 for Clay's Canucks Commentary Live. God bless, and go Canucks go.